Hey guys, this is Chris, strat-o-matic Delaware, and we are bringing you a new to me game that I was inspired by another fantastic channel, Retro Sports Network. Ron Juckett, check him out, a lot of great stuff. He just completed a 1978 football replay, and he's working on 1982 baseball, so check his channel out, fantastic stuff. And he brought to us a couple of weeks ago, Out of the Pocket, a bowling game. And it's free to play. I'll post a link in the doobly-doo down there. But yeah, I thought I would show you guys how to play it, and we do a little demo before we get started. The spiel. If you like the channel, if you like the video, please give it the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. Hit the little dinger bell thingy down there next to the word subscribed. That way you know whenever content is uploaded. Share me with your friends. And guys, let's do some bowling now. It's a really simple game. It's 3 pages of rules. So we're going to go through the rules step by step. What is needed to play? 3 6-sided dice, 1 or more bowling cards, 1 special chart, out of the pocket chart, and there are 4 of them depending on how you're more comfortable with looking at them. There's reading the dice high to low, low to high. You read the dice high to low for the player cards, the bowler cards, so I use the high to low sequence, just a little more natural flow, doesn't break up how you're reading the dice or where you're looking for it on charts. And a printed or electronic score sheet. Now, of course, you can get them all over the place. I whipped this out on Google Sheets in about 4 minutes at work the other day. Don't tell my boss. Might even cover a little bit on scoring as well, but let's go through the rules. Okay, getting started. Choose 1 or more bowler cards, and the out of the pocket chart should be kept to the side, as you will need to consult this chart when directed to do so on the bowler cards. Reading the bowler cards. Well, let's get down here so you can see a bowler card. Jason Belmonte. Reading the bowler cards, top section identifies the bowler's name, season, average, and either a lefty or righty to indicate which hand he bowls with. The middle part of the card, is of the bowler's card is where you will look for results after each die roll, except for results on the out of the pocket chart. Each frame is resolved with 1 roll. Results section. So there are 5 results sections. First, the 222, 333, 444 section. If you roll, let's say you rolled a 222 as an example, you're going to look in this section right here, wee little section on top there, and it's going to say go to the out of the pocket. I might have said park earlier. The out of the pocket chart, which is that chart right there. And we'll show you how to read that in a moment. Next, if you roll a pair of 1s, and we'll show you why 311 is not part of that in just a moment. But if you roll a pair of 1s, then you are going to use this result right here. So, example, if you rolled 3 1s, like say so, then you would look here and you would see that Jason Belmonte is going to have an open frame, 9 and 0. Say he had rolled 411. You always read the highest die first. If you rolled a 411, he's 8 on his first ball, picks up the spare. So it's not in focus. It needs to be in focus. It's probably too close. Focus here. That's better. Third section is the pair of 5s or pair of 6 section. Now, pair of 5s, if you roll a pair of 5s like so, you're going to look, this is like if the bowler figures the lane out. If you have a pair of 5s, you're going to look back 2 frames on the score sheet, and if it's a strike, then he gets a strike for this frame. If it's not a strike, then you're going to consult the result over here. Same with if it's a pair of 6s. You're going to go back 1 frame on the score sheet. So say you're in the 8th frame, you roll a 6-6-4. If he got a strike in the 7th frame, you carry that strike to the 8th frame. Otherwise, if it's anything else, a spare, an open frame, whatever, then you're going to read the result over here. In 6-6-4, it would be a strike anyway. If it was 6-6-5, open frame, 6 and 3. The final section on the bowler's cards, and this is why 3-1-1 is not up here. That is the only combination of dice that will give you a 5. Down here is easy memorization as far as what the frame is going to crank out. If you roll between a 10 and a 15, it's a strike. If you roll a 9, it's a 9 and picking up the spare. If you roll an 8, it's an 8 and picking up the spare. 7, 7 and picking up the spare. 6, 6 pick up the spare. 5, out of the pocket chart. That's how you read the cards. And I think that pretty much covered all the rules for reading the cards. So if something else comes up, we'll get to it. But that's pretty much it. Out of the pocket chart, if you have to go to the out of the pocket chart, you will roll 3 dice again. And you will consult the proper result. 4-4-3. Bowler leaves 4-6, 7-10 split. Roll 3 dice. If you roll triples, he picks up the spare. Otherwise, it's open. 6, it says score the frame 6-1. Tells you what to do. Hints, tips and hints, and this works really well. A good way to go through the sequence after you roll the dice. Things to look for. See if I can find that real quick. Okay, here you go. First, look for 222, 333, 444. You know you're going to be looking up here. I mean, pretty much working in order. 222, 333, 444. Then see if you got a pair of 1s. If not, see if you got a pair of 5s or 6s. If not, you're doing this right here. Just go through that. And the more you play it, the more you'll know what to look for. You don't have to use that exact order, but look for triples, look for pairs of 1s, 5s, and 6s. Otherwise, you're going to take the total of the 3 dice. That would be an 8 and picking up the spare. That would be an 11, so that's a strike. That's how you do it. Doody-doo. Any bowler, if they roll a total of 5, it goes to the out-of-pocket chart. For any bowler, if they roll triple 2s, trip 3s, or trip 4s, you go to the out-of-the-pocket chart. For any bowler, you look for pairs of 1s, 5s, and 6s and look at the appropriate section. For any bowler, if they've not rolled something mentioned above, a total of 5, trips, pair of 1s, 5s, or 6s, then simply look at the total. If it's less than 10, it is that total roll and a spare. If it's 10 or greater, then it's a strike. Remember to check and make sure you don't see 2 5s or 2 6s if your total is greater than 10. Okay. Now let's do a little on bowling scoring for those who may not be familiar with how to score a game of bowling. I just happen to have my warm-up game that I played last night so I could learn how to do this for you guys. And we will take Ryan Schaefer and John Gant. Will we? No. We want to see an open frame. We're going to take Billy Hardwick and Parker Bond III. So let's bring it in here a little bit. So right here, this game right here. So we're going to cover it up so that way you guys know exactly what we're looking at. Just a second to grab something here. Okay, we'll put this here. This here. Okay, Billy Hardwick, Parker Bond. Hardwick won this game 278 to 194. He was rolling. It was amazing watching the dice do this. Anytime you get a strike, you're going to put bowling. You get 2 balls per frame. If you roll a strike, you only get the 1 ball per frame because you've knocked them all down, and you denote a strike with an X in the first box. And this would be where your second ball would be if you had one. So Billy Hardwick had a strike in the first frame. You don't count a score in the first under a strike. because if you get a strike, you count the next 2 balls. Parker Bond then gets a spare. He bowls down 9 pins in his first ball in the first frame. In his second one, he knocked down the 10th one, so you mark a spare with a diagonal slash like that. You don't mark a score underneath a spare, because if you get a spare, you also count the next ball. So he had a spare, which is 10 pins knocked down. His next ball was a strike, which is 10 more. So the score here is 20. Billy Hardwick, he count the 2 balls after a strike. So his next 2 balls were strikes. So that's 10, 20, 30. 30 in the first frame. He got a strike in the 4th frame. 10, 20, 30. 30 plus 30 is 60. He got a strike in the 5th frame. 90. Then he bowled a spare. He bowled 9 and he picked it up. Well, the 9 is the 3rd ball on this strike. Strike, strike, 9. So you're adding 29. It's 119. If you have an open frame, of course, you count balls into a strike or balls into a spare first. So he had a strike here. His next 2 balls get counted, added on to 60 with this. So that's 10. Ball 1 is 16. Ball 2 is 19. So you add 19 to that, you get 79. And then, since it's not a spare or a strike, you write this down. Add 9 more, you get 88. Then you start again on the next frame. If there is a foul, and I actually had a foul, so I can show you down here in the championship game by Del Ballard in the 4th frame, you mark a foul with an F. And basically, the ball does not count. That is either when your foot crosses the line at the top of the lane, or you bowl the ball across the line from the starter spot and into the lane. That is a foul. For those of you who don't bowl. And almost all of us have bowled at some point in our lives, so almost all of us know what a foul is, and almost all of us totally ignored that stupid thing because it wasn't a league thing and we were just bowling with some buddies or our kids or whatever. But that is how you do it. 10th frame bears mentioning. 10th frame. The final frame of every game. If you get a strike or a spare, you get 3 balls. So, for instance, Chris Barnes bowled a strike. He gets 2 more balls. 7 and picked up the spare. And, of course, Jason Belmonte, he turkeyed. He tripled out. If you start with a spare, like up here, bring us down here. If you start with a spare, you bowl your 9, you pick up the spare, you get a 3rd ball. If you have an open frame, if you do not get a strike or a spare in the first 2 balls, that's it. You do not get the 3rd ball in the 10th frame. That is scoring bowling. It comes much easier the more you've done it. I honestly haven't bowled in about 10 years, but man, there's some things you just do not forget. And once you know how to do it, scoring bowling is one of them. It really is. So I'm going to show you slowly, step by step, how to play this game. So we're going to keep everything kind of handy-ish here so we can see what's going on. We are going to bowl with Mark Roth, Walter Ray Williams. I've already got this set up. We're going to do a slow game so you can see how it works. Then I'll do a quicker game so you can see how quickly this game plays, because once you know how to play it, man, it's blistering. It really is. It flies right by. So let's do Walter Ray Williams Jr. He's going to lead off in lane 1. Now we've rolled a 4-2-1. There's no trip 2, 3s, or 4s. There's not a pair of 1s or 5s or 6s. So we're going to count that total. That's 7. So he bowled 7 on his first ball and picks up the spare. Now, spare gets the next ball. We don't write a score down. Mark Roth, first frame. No trip 2s, 3s, or 4s. No pair of 1s, pair of 5s, or pair of 6s. So that is going to be an 11. And for all bowlers, 10 through 15 is a strike. So he picks up a strike on the first ball. Mark Roth is going to take over first in the second frame. Pair of sixes. So we are going to look here on his card. 6, 6, 3. Now 6, you go back one frame, and if it's a strike, you carry the strike. So we're in the second frame. You go back one frame. He gets the strike. If it had not been a strike, if it had been anything other than that, you would have looked over here, and he would have had an open frame, 7 and 1. But he figured it out. Now, if that had happened in the first frame, well, then, of course, you can't go back beyond the first frame. You would look at this result. All right, Walter Ray Williams working a spare. He doesn't have trips. He doesn't have a pair of anything, so that is a 14, and that is a strike for Williams. Now, spare gets one ball, so that is 10, 20, score in the first frame. So Walter Ray Williams is going to bowl first in the third frame. Pair of sixes. 6, 6, 4. Now sixes, you go back one frame. We're in the third. We go back to the second frame. One frame, it's a strike. We carry that strike up. Let's go to Mark Roth. He rolls a 6, 2, 1. No trip twos. No pair of ones. No pair of fives or sixes. So we count the total. 6, 2 is 8. 1 is 9. So that's going to be 9. On the first ball, picks up the spare. Strike gets 2 balls. 10, 29. Strike gets 2 balls. 10, 19, 20. Which gives him 49. And now he's got a spare. He's going to get his next ball on that, so we don't rate the score here yet. So Mark Roth is going to lead off here in the fourth frame. And he bowls no trips. No pair of ones, fives, or sixes, so we're going to count it. That's an 11, and that is a strike. So if spare gets the next ball, so that's 10, 20. So he is 69, third frame score. Walter Ray Williams working on 2 strikes. Gets a pair of twos is nothing. That is a 5. And we're going to go to the out of the pocket chart. We roll the dice again. That is a 5, 4, 2. 5, 4, 2. Bowler leaves 1 pin. Roll a die. It's an open frame, 9 and nothing if it's 1 through 5. If he rolls a 6, he picks up the spare. So he's got 9 on his first ball. He misses it. Off the pad in the back. So that is going to be an open frame for Walter Ray Williams. 9. If he misses it, gutter ball, whatever, just put a little dash there. So strike gets 2 balls. 10, 20, 9. So that is 49 for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Strike gets 2 balls. 10, 19. So that is 68. And then he bowled a 9. It's an open frame, so that is going to be 77. So Walter Ray Williams is going to lead off in the fifth frame. 5, 5, 6. That is pair of fives. We go back 2 frames. Pair of fives. We go back 2 frames. 1, 2. That's a strike. So he picks up the strike to get back on track. Let's go to Mark Roth. 6, 5, 1. No trips. No pairs of ones, fives, or sixes. Read the total. That's a 12. That is a strike. 10 through 15 is a strike. Alrighty. And spare gets 2 balls. There's only been 1 so far, so no score is written down. Mark Roth is going to go first in the 6th frame. If you'd like to have a copy of this score sheet, let me know. I'll be more than happy to provide it. I've got a lot of score sheets that I create for the games that I play, so I'll be more than happy to get a copy of this to you upon request. Comment down there in the thingy, and I'll get contact information from you, and I'll hook you up with this score sheet. It'll do 7 games per sheet, 7 pairs of bowlers. Back to the action. Mark Roth, no trips, no pairs listed here. So we read the 9. That's going to be a 9, and he picks up the spare. So strike gets 2 balls. 10, 20, 9. So that is 98. strike gets 2 balls, 10, and these make 20. So 118. Spare gets the next ball, don't write a score. All right, Walter Ray Williams working a strike in the 6th. He rolls trips 6s, which works out as a pair of 6s. Trip 5s is a pair of 5s. Trip 6s is a pair of 6s. 6s go back 1 frame. 1 frame. And Walter Ray Williams has got a double going. All right, here we go. 7th frame. And that is a 6 for Walter Ray Williams Jr. No trips, no pairs, so it's going to be bowls a 6 and picks up the spare. And we'll call that, he's a righty, so we'll call that the 4, 6, 9, 10 pickup. Everything on the right-hand side. Just caught the pocket a little bit too close to the 1 and banged everything on through. Left the right side standing. Alrighty, so for those of you who are wondering, if anyone ever mentions pins, these are how they're laid out, just so you know. There's the 1 pin, the 2 pin, the 3 pin, 4 pin, 5 pin, 6 pin, 7 pin, 8 pin, 9 pin, 10 pin. So if you've ever seen these 2 pins standing, that's the old 7-10 split. Comes up in the game every now and again. Mark Roth in the 7th frame, working a spare. Oh, we need to score Williams. We'll come back to that in a sec. Strike gets 2 balls, 10, 20, 6. So that is 103. Strike gets 2 balls, 10, and these make 20. So that's 123. Spare gets the next ball. Don't write down a score. All right, I didn't even look to see what that roll was, so Mark Roth is getting another roll. Trip 3s, 2s or 4s? No. Pair of 1s, pairs of 5s, pair of 6s? No. Read the total. That's a 7, so he's going to bowl a 7. Pick up the spare, and it's getting to be a close game all of a sudden. Well, Roth has still got about a 10-pin lead. Let's see, spare gets the ball, so 16. That'll be 134. Yep, about a 10-pin lead, 11 pins to be exact. Spare gets the next ball. Don't write a score. Mark Roth is going to start on the 8th. Bowls a 10. No trips, no pairs of 1s, 5s, or 6s. That is a strike. Spare gets the next ball, 10, 20. So 154. We go to Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the 8th. There is no trip 2s, 3s, or 4s. No pair of 1s, no pair of 5s, no pair of 6s. And again, you can see here, you read high to low. So this is, it would be read 6, 5, 3. But since it's none of those, we total them up. 14, 10 through 15 is a strike. You don't need different colors. All you need to do is read them from high to low. Spare gets the next ball, 10, 20. So that's 143, keeping that same spread in the pins. Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the 9th frame. And it's not trip 2s, 3s, or 4s. It's not a pair of 1s, pair of 5s, or pair of 6s. That's a 4-4-2, which is 10. Another strike. He's got a double going into the 10th. Mark Roth now, 9th frame. And he rolls not trip 2s, 3s, or 4s. No pair of 1s, no pair of 5s, no pair of 6s. Count it. 15. That's a strike for Roth. Both of them are carrying doubles in. Williams is going to have to really shoot it up in the 10th and hope that Roth trips up a little bit. Let us see how Roth does and see what kind of work Williams has remaining. So that is going to be a 5-5-3 for Roth. Pair of 5s, go back 2 frames. 1, 2. So that is a strike, and that is a triple. So we add 30. That's 184. You got a strike, he automatically gets 2 more balls. If you get a strike or a spare, you get a total of 3 balls in the 10th frame. That there is a pair of 6s. Pair of 6s, you go back 1 frame. Boom, right there. And that's how you do it in the 10th. You don't go back to the 9th. You go back one ball if it was a strike. If not, then you would check out over here. Mark Roth, third ball, and that is a triple there, so that makes this 214. Strike gets 2 balls, 10, 20, 30, 214. Final ball from Mark Roth. And that's not trip 2s, 3s, or 4s. It's not a pair of 1s, not a pair of 5s, not a pair of 6s. That's a 12, and that's a triple in the 10th. And there is no way Walter Ray Williams Jr. can come back on that. The best he can possibly do is 233 because he was 11 pins down. So Williams is going to finish it out. Here's his first ball in the 10th frame, and that is not trip 2s, 3s, or 4s, not a pair of 1s, not a pair of 5s, not a pair of 6s. Total it up for a 14. That's a strike. Strike gets 2 more balls, 10, 20, 30. So that's 173. 244 is a really good score. I think best I ever did was about 140. And that was when joints worked. Not medicinal joints, the ones on my knees. Second ball, it's not trips 2s, 3s, or 4s. It's not a pair of 1s, 5s, or 6s. So we total it up. That's 11. That's another strike, another triple. Strike gets next 2 balls, 10, 20, 30. So that's 203. And the final ball, it's not trips 2s, 3s, or 4s. It's not a pair of 1s, not a pair of 5s, not a pair of 6s. Count it up. That is 13. That is a strike. And they both finished with 3 triples. Strike gets 2 balls, and everything counts in the 10th. It's not like 3, then 2, then 1. It's your last 3. So we are looking at 10, 20, 30 on 203. Makes for 233. So Roth wins the first game. So now I'm going to play the second game and let you see how this sucker really, really barrels it out. And we're just going to lay this out here and we're going to do some bowling. Let's put this here. Let's do it this way. Let me set this up real quick so I can get this as probably speedy as possible and get the dice in here as well. Okay. All right, here we go. We are bowling. Mark Roth, Walter Ray Williams Jr. Roth is going to lead off the second game. Here's the first frame. That's a pair of 1s. 2-1-1 is going to be for Roth. That's a strike. So he starts out good. First frame for Williams. That is a 9. No trips or doubles. So 9 picks up the spare. Williams again for the second frame. That's an 8. So he gets 8, picks up the spare. So that's 18 in the first frame. Mark Roth rolls a 9. So that's going to be 9 and picks it up. So that'll be 20. He goes again for the third frame. Let's see. 5, 5, 6. A pair of 5s for Roth. He goes back 2 frames. That's strike. That's 40. Let's go. Williams. Pair of 5s. Go back 2 frames. That's not a strike. 5, 5, 6 is a strike. So that's 38. Williams again. 2, 2, 5. That's trips. So that doesn't count. It's a 9. So it's going to be 9 and a spare. So that's 20 on the strike. 58. Let's go to Roth. 4, 4, 2. That's a 10. Strike. He goes again in the 5th. Pair of 6s. Goes back 1 frame. Carries a strike for the triple. That makes that 70. Williams in the 5th frame. 2, 2, 3. Nope, that's a 7 and a pickup. So that's 17 for 75. He's going to go in the 6th for an 11. That's a strike. 95. Mark Roth. That is a 9 and a pickup. So that's 29 here. 99 and 20. 119. He'll go in the 7th. 8. So that's 8. Picks it up with the spare. 18, 137. We go to Williams in the 7th frame. That's a pair of 6s. Go back 1, and he gets the strike. Memorization goes a long way to this, guys, and it's very quick to memorize it so you know what's going on without having to consult all the charts and the rules and everything. Williams with a 9, so that's going to be a spare pickup. So that's 29 here. That's 124, 144. We go to Roth at the top in the 8th frame. That's an 11. Strike, so that's 157. You can see how this is shaping up. Roth has got the lead in this one again. 9, but not quite as dominating as the last one was. 177 going into the 10th. Here comes Williams working a spare, and he can't get the strikes going. 19, 163 going into the 10th. Rolls a 12. That's a strike for 183. He's got 2 more balls. Doesn't need them. Well, he will. Strike. And not a pair of 3s. That's a strike. So 213. Walter Ray Williams Jr. Mark Roth in the 10th. Bowls an 11. That's a strike. Bowls a 9. The spare. That may have brought this back in. Let's see. 20 is 197. 20 more. 207. 217. Sorry. Just edges out Williams for the second game. And guys, I just played that game in about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Plays super fast once you get the hang of it. 2-minute, 40-second bowling game. Chris Esposito, as a matter of fact, Espo Strat Baseball Network. He showed this off about a year ago or so. He said he was getting a bowling game and he really liked it. Ron Juckett did a computer version of this a couple of weeks ago on his channel, Retro Sports Network. Check them both out. Great friends of the channel. Awesome guys. And this has been Out of the Pocket Bowling. Again, I'll put the link for where you can get it in the doobly-doo down there. But, yeah, I just wanted to bring this to you and let you see me, which I want to start to do. Why? I don't know. People really don't want to see me or anything. But yeah, that's it. Out of the pocket bowling, quick, cool game. Another sport that I've got in my portfolio here. I mean, you can see everything that I've got. I've gone through my games, kind of organized stuff a little bit more. We got Fury Football, Bowl Bound, Digging Deep, Golf and Boxing, Strat-o-matic Baseball, Basketball, Hockey, Football, APBA Football, Dice Nuts, Golf, APBA Baseball. I've got others here. I have Dice Racing, Inside Pitch. Yeah, I got games. But yeah, I wanted to bring that to you. Out of the Pocket Bowling version 2. There is a version 1 which took into account a lot of possible fan interference, having to bowl in extra time, roll in extra time to pick up the spare, stuff like that. But yeah, there you go, Out of the Pocket Bowling. Again, I'll put the link down there so you guys can go check it out, download stuff. And that's it, guys. This is Chris, Strat-o-matic, Delaware. It is Friday evening, January the 18th. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Possibly some cool upcoming news about Strat-o-matic opening day. I'm maybe going. Not going to be able to spend the night like I did last year, but if I can arrange economic transportation, parentheses, not my 1994 Ford Bronco at 11 miles to the gallon. Going to drive up, stand in line, meet, greet, couple of videos, blast on back down, maybe get a couple of games in on Friday, a bunch of games in on Saturday. If not, then we'll see what happens. I'll wait for it in the mail like everybody else. Guys, again, this is Chris, Strat-o-matic, Delaware. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a fantastic weekend. Keep on rolling, guys.